A soulful business is something that has intuition and it has structure with it. It's one of my most favorite conversations because we can't be all intuitive because we live as humans and there has to be some to-do lists and there have to be some goals that you have for yourself or for your business. And there has to be some structure. Otherwise, it will be just another shop that goes out of business or someone who sets up their business to be an intuitive reader. They could be the most gifted reader, but suck in the business part, and they're not going to be in business.
Well, welcome to Intuition, Your Success Compass. I'm Vicki Baird, your host and wisdom-led mindset coach. This podcast is where intuition meets strategy and mindset meets meaning. I help smart, successful humans stop overthinking and start trusting their inner wisdom, because your clarity, self-surety, and next-level life are already within you. With over 2 decades of coaching experience, a knack for systems, and a gift for spotting what's off, be it a saboteur thought or an out-of-alignment choice, I'm here to help you connect your brilliant brain with your soul's knowing. You'll get grounded insights, little humor, and real-life tools to create change that actually sticks, like your go-to morning brew. Familiar, grounding, and the nudge you didn't know you needed. And I love coffee, so that works too.
Hi there. Thanks for joining me for this episode. This is going to be a business-focused episode, but also it could apply to life, right? Like, I don't like compartmentalizing ourselves. I like thinking I am Vicki wherever I go in the world, and I happen to bring my business sense, but I also bring my intuition and my goofy side and my animal loving serving side, and occasionally someone who likes to cook, or what we call cooking in this house. Thankfully, I do not live with a Michelin chef, so we can pass things off as primo when are they really? But that's a digression. So this week, you can have a soulful business and still be strategic. They are not mutually exclusive. A soulful business isn't fluff. It's actually, I would say it's more grounded than some of the more gotta have a business plan and strategic action for every movement. A soulful business doesn't allow you to be fluff because it carries with it an energy of lifetimes, not just this one or through the next payroll cycle or whatever your fiscal year runs on. So it's not all spreadsheets either. It's the beautiful integration of both. It is strategy, but it's strategy with an alignment and with a knowing of who you are, what your business represents, and what is the service that it brings to the world. Because even if you're not running a service-oriented business, say you are in products, you're still providing a service. You're still giving someone hopefully something that enhances their life. And a soulful business is something that has intuition and it has structure with it. It's one of my most favorite conversations because we can't be all intuitive because we live as humans and there has to be some to-do lists and there have to be some goals that you have for yourself or for your business. And there has to be some structure. Otherwise, it will be just another shop that goes out of business or someone who sets up their business to be an intuitive reader. They could be the most gifted reader, but suck in the business part, and they're not going to be in business. And that's sad to me because there's so many free resources out there that will help you to become the best business person you can be. Ooh, I'm going to link one of the websites in the notes or one of the podcasts in the notes for you so that you'll have that in business or your overall life. Joy Lutz is the host of it, and I listen to it every time it comes out. She's running a series right now where there's quite a few episodes in a row. Typically, it's every other week. And I will put that in there because she is the brilliant, brilliant mind that is able to combine the concepts of running much more deeply than I will do here, of running a business that is both aligned and is strategic. It's called sorry, Joy, up leveling. And it's just brilliant, and she's brilliant, and you'll love it. So I will put a link to her podcast in there, because when you have a business that is balanced with intuition and structure, you are basically covering all the bases, right? And I don't know any successful entrepreneur who's not leading with their intuition, even if they don't know that that's what they're doing. So if you can recognize that, you'll be that much more ahead of the game and successful, because you'll be bringing a groundedness, you'll be bringing a truthfulness, because intuition can give you a lot of great ideas, but if you don't understand your numbers and if you don't have a plan for things, it's just going to be talked about over and over and over again. And yes, I am guilty of that. In years past, I would lean more into my intuition and knowing how I wanted to run my business, and not really sit down and have the conversations that I needed to have with myself. So it can be a little bit of tension. There can be tension between traditional business models of just make sure you have all your numbers right and you're listening to what the customer is asking for. I believe in that, but I also believe that your customer may not know what to ask for. So you have to be the one that does the planning and does some of the research and delving into, in order to bring that to them so they know what to ask for, but also creating something that feels good to run, and it feels good to be a part of, to say, I have this business. I did build my business intuitively, but I also built it strategically. And in each moment that I was in, if I made an announcement that there was a change to the business, like when I stopped doing mediumship full time, I had thought about that and planned that out for 6 months before. I knew I was cutting out 50% of my business, and I knew that that might be something that I didn't recover from, but I trusted intuitively that I had more to offer than connecting with those who have passed, who kept telling me that they didn't even want to do that anymore, because they felt like the people I would work with were more focused on now and moving forward, rather than looking over their shoulder at someone else who had passed or in their past. That scared me so much. It scared me. Not to make the decision to stop doing the mediumship, but to be able to communicate it in a way that didn't feel disrespectful to those that wanted to connect with those who have crossed. Because I completely get it. I understand that longing. Trust me, I know that longing. Just because I have the medium abilities does not mean I can connect with those who I'm related to or was in love with. It doesn't work that way all the time. I can get glimpses of, but to have the full conversations, my soul still has to grow and my human self has to grow. So there was intuition. Yes, I knew it was coming. Like, even before Howard was in his transition and in the last episode that led to his croaking, I knew I wanted to leave it. We had talked about it a lot. And then he was home on hospice in my living room in the hospital bed. And I said to him, can I use this? Like, can I use this? Because my knowing is that this is going to hurt too much to do the messages for other people when I'm grieving so hard. And in his true New England way, he said, you'd be a goddamn fool not to. And I didn't do it immediately. I still knew I had that, and I would. I went back to work after his passing, and it was horrifically hard, and that's when I decided not to, but I had already done all the planning. I already knew how it could impact my bottom line. I made the adjustments to my expenditures. So there was strategy along with a huge spiritual shift, because that's when I went into neuropathway work. And it led me there because I wanted to focus so much on people being able to blend your soul with your brain and your knowing and your humanness. So I did do it. I do still run it intuitively, but there's a lot of strategy and a lot of thought that goes into any shift I make with my business. I just don't listen to the playbooks of how other people say I need to run my business. I mean, I've been here 25 years, okay? So, and each year is progressively more successful, and I'm grateful for that. And I am also aware that I put in that work. I just don't listen to what other people say a coaching business needs to look like, even to the point where people wanted to throw away the word coaching because it anybody can say they're a coach. And I actually happen to be one of the coaches that I would be okay, even invite some regulation around this because I've seen some of the dangers of people saying they're a coach and they're not qualified. But all that to say, I understand that a soulful business, when done well, is still strategic. Strategy isn't the enemy. And if you want to run a soulful business and you're doing it all through what you feel you should do that day, you are not going to have a business, my friend. You have a hobby, as the IRS would say. But you can redefine strategy. You can define strategy from a wisdom, from a sage perspective, so that it doesn't feel like, please don't make me be in spreadsheets and profit and loss and balance sheets and all of those all day, Vicky. Please don't. I won't. I absolutely won't. I'll suggest you hire someone who's good at that. But you can also redefine strategy from your wisdom side of what does aligned action look like? What does creating consistency in your business mean to you? And for someone like for me, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday is when I see people. Monday and Thursday, I volunteer in the morning at the horse farm. And then in the afternoon, I address the administrative needs of my business. And so I cover 5 days a week, but I've created a system that feels balanced to me. Once I got past my own objections, I was in the mindset that, well, if you're not at your desk and you're not doing this 5 days a week, then you're not really running a business. I still had all of that mindset in there. And then I had, did my own deep dive and then my own intuition connection and then some strategy planning. And I realized when I give myself those hours to be with the animals and to be physically active at the level that I am there, oh man, at the level that it requires, horse strong is a whole different strength than gym strength. Same muscles, but whoo, mama. What it allowed me to do was to show up in the afternoon completely clear-headed and ready to do some of the strategy work. So that's aligned action for me. I listened to myself that it felt really good. And it's also turned me into a morning person, which is pretty freaking awesome. And being clear about what I want to offer. I could teach gem classes. I could teach connecting to your angels, connecting to your guides easily. I choose not to because it no longer aligns for me. That is something that other people can teach very well, and they're excited to teach it. It's important when you're running a business that you're offering something you're excited about. I get excited when people tell me, I heard my judge, but I didn't listen. I was kind to it and I shifted, and then this happened. That's so exciting to me. Boundaries, another thing that ended up being a rather cliche, overused word, is something that's really important, that I help others know their boundaries because we all have different ones. What matters to me or what wouldn't bother me might drive you bonkers. But understanding that, that's part of strategy within your business, but you still bring in your intuition to that, and you bring in your knowing of self to say, does this matter to me? I have a client who truly does not care when the people who work for her get their work done. She does not care. It's the type of business that it doesn't matter if you start at noon and you do the work until 8 p.m. or whatever, or if you're someone who does their best work in the morning. It does not matter. It's a brilliant system. But I did suggest to her that she have some kind of time tracking because it was too lax. It was too open-ended. And I said, "No, you need to do some time tracking." And part of that was because I could feel 3 of the employees were phoning it in, and that's not okay. If you can do 8 hours of work in 4 hours, I'll pay you for 8 hours. I have no problem with that. But if you're doing 4 hours of work in 8 hours, I have an issue with that. So we instituted some time tracking, and that's the strategy part, and totally within the parameters of good business life, and 3 people were released. And the one person that came in is doing the work of 3 people, and it doesn't even look like he's lifting a pencil. To him, it's no big deal, and he doesn't even do it in the 8 hours, but we don't care because he's getting the same amount of work done. He's just so dang focused that, man, I have actually joked that I would like to do a transfusion of his blood to my blood to see if it would help. So those are the types of things that you can absolutely be in business and be a completely aligned, soulful being, but have your boundaries and use your discernment of who you work with and how you work and why you want to work with them. Like, there's so much talk about pick a niche, pick a niche, pick a niche. I don't have a niche, except I want to work with successful women who already know a bit about themselves, but they can also feel that there's something missing and they would like more contentedness or direction or belief in themselves. But I don't have to say they're between this age and that age. That's not necessary, or that they make this, or they shop here or there. I don't care where you shop, just don't overspend. It's that discernment that comes with knowing thyself and knowing what types of personality. Like, my clients have to have a sense of humor. If you don't have a sense of humor, I just don't know how we lighten up the process. So I can understand not having humor because you feel stressed, overwhelmed, without a rudder. Oh, absolutely. But sometimes you gotta laugh at the absurdity of life. So knowing who you work with and how you'll work with them, and why you even want to work with them, that's both soulful and strategic. It's not about creating your perfect client avatar. It's about knowing who you best communicate with and upping your game a little bit to be willing to say, this is how I work with people. I don't turn away any guys that want to work with me, but you have to have an alignment of, you have to have a frequency and you have to have an intention to continue to grow. You absolutely have to know that I'm not going to take excuses and I will help you to elevate who you are as a human. However, I'm very discerning there as well. So saboteur voices are going to come in business. They just are, especially if you're running your own business. Hyperachiever can take over and just be like more and more and more. You just have to keep going. You just have to do one more thing, be goal-oriented, self-directed, right? And what happens though is you may get focused so narrowly on achievement, it'll be to the detriment of your relationships with your coworkers or your employees, to the balance of your life and your relationship and your availability to your family, and even your perspective, because it can make it all about winning. And that's if that's your if that's your perspective is all about winning, when you do your life review on the other side, you're going to be bummed. You're going to be bummed, my friend. The other thing that can happen in business too is a restlessness. And oh, yes, oh, Lordy, have I fallen prey to this. My top 3 are avoider, hyperachiever, and restless. So I am well versed in the restless, which some may call attention diversity, but you know what? It's more an avoidance of that thing that you might find boring or sitting down. It's like squirrel, new shiny thing, new idea, take this course, take that course, study this, change your marketing, do this, do that. It actually takes quite a bit for me to say to myself, okay, Vic, no, we're going to chart the course. The reason that you have had success is you've been consistent in your messaging of always serving the soul and the human. Always. The language may shift a little bit, but it's always been about that, about loving being a human with the soul's knowing. So your saboteur voices are going to come in, and we'll put a link to the saboteur assessment. It's free. They won't spam you, nor will you be signed up for anything on my page. That's totally up to you if you want to join, but we will put the link in so that you have access to go take that. It takes about 10, 15 minutes, depending on how fast you read. And just go through it. Don't overthink things. Just click what feels right and be amazed at what comes back. So as we do this, being human means that we have an inner critic and we have that voice within us that's going to say you're doing it wrong, or you don't know what you're doing, or that idea didn't pan out. You shouldn't be in business at all. That's normal. Just know that that's normal on any given day. I mean, I have people who their companies are up in the $24 million range, and that conversation happens at least once a session. It's getting less and less with a few people because they're really working with me in the neural pathway and understanding that that's not going to serve us. If something's wrong, we'll adjust. Call the people who know what they're doing in that one particular area. When you run a company, you can't know it all. And if you think you do, you really shouldn't be running a company. But that voice will pop up that you're doing it wrong, or it'll never be a success. And that's the time where you actually have to lean in a little bit more to your intuition to trust that, yeah, it will. Yeah, it will. I may just have to take a couple breaths and do a PQ rep and then ask, does this honor my soul, or is it feeding my fear? And then what's the next step? One of my favorite PQ reps when I'm on a Zoom call with someone is to look at their eyes, to really pay attention to their eyes and the flecks in them and how is the light bouncing off of them. And I just love doing that. And it helps to center my brain. And then it puts me in the wisdom and the sage place to better serve them. So if you do something like that, or pick something, maybe you have a beautiful plant in your office, or you have a puppy dog like I do who's sleeping right next to me now. Just look at that and do 30 seconds and then ask, is this decision honoring my soul, or is it feeding a fear? And you'll know. You can flip that if you want. Is this feeding a fear or honoring my soul? It takes courage to say that you're running a soul-led business. You don't have to say that out loud. You don't have to say you're running an energetically aligned company. Kudos to you if you're brave enough to do that. And you know what? As we move forward in the evolution of humanity, we are evolving. Sorry, it doesn't look like it, but we are. The people who are willing to say, this is how I serve, this is who I don't serve, this is what we believe in as a company, this is what we won't put up with as a company, that transparency, and saying that, we're willing to try things and stuff might not go well, but we're still going to try it, are the companies that I feel more humans are going to lean towards because they want the transparency, especially with AI being around. It can be hard to discern, one of my favorite words, if this is real or if it's not real. So the companies that are willing to say, no, this is who I serve and this is what I do well and this is not what I do well, I feel like are going to be the ones, I know are going to be the ones that lead us into lining up with what works for us, because there's plenty to go around. There's plenty of businesses that will serve those that only care about the trappings. That's fine. Young souls, we need them. So understanding that your offers and what you bring as a company are a reflection of yourself. I mean, that's why I do the mindset breakthrough, because it was so pivotal in that final tool that I needed to actually know what a really quiet head, a belief in self, a joy of life. I knew it as concept, but I didn't know it as concrete within myself. And the positive intelligence is what kind of clicked it in for me. And then mindset breakthrough is what I created from that. It's deep, it's very transformative. It's not trendy. It's not trendy. I don't do bells and whistles. There's not 5,000 things you get free by joining. You either want to join or you don't. I am not going to round up people I don't even know and say, "Will you donate so I can sell this course?" Nope. If you don't think it's a good deal at 1477 or 87, I can't remember what the sevens are, then I don't need you in my course. I don't want you in my course. I want the people that say, "Damn, that's a good deal to learn how to hear my brain and shift my brain and then align with my intuition as a lifelong thing so I don't have to keep taking courses." So pricing that is aligned in your business and not inflated for ego or shrunk for approval will also help in bringing your ideal clients in, because I am unapologetic that that's the price for 8 weeks. It says 7 weeks on the website, but I have to change it to 8 because I keep adding a week on for the closure aspect, and that will change. I'll edit that at some point. But knowing that that is a lifetime thing where this is the investment, and you could break it down that it's $230 or something like that a week, but that's a lifetime of abilities that you're getting, because functional MRIs show that in 8 weeks, your brain shifts. So I want that for everybody, but pricing that's aligned in your company, that's not inflated for ego. I have 25 years of coaching experience. I could sell that for 10 grand. I don't want to. I don't want to. I want it available to the average person that I attract into my business. And yes, I do payment plans. Nor am I going to shrink it because somebody asked me to sell it for less. I said, no, I've been a coach for 25 years. You get the app, which is valued at $1,000, and you get me for the extra 400. Nope, not doing it. So understanding who you are and being soulful while being connected to your intuition, and well, that's kind of the same thing, Vic. Being soulful in your intuition, but also directing it with good business sense in your brain. And that way you can be in your truth. You can market with warmth instead of manipulation. And you can be very clear. It's either you want to be here or you don't. In total transparency, I had somebody join my last mindset breakthrough who actually didn't want to be there. And I communicated with them and I said, it feels like you're joining this because your friend wants you to join so bad. And I just don't want you to pay for that, because after the second week, I am not refunding you. Like, you will be in for the whole cost. Is that what you want to do? Nope, nope, nope. I'm in it. I'm in it. I'm in it. And then ghosted. Like, wants no part of it after the third week. I didn't refund. That's your conscious choice, my friend. I was clear up front. I even intuitively knew that. And I feel good about that from a business perspective, because I don't need to manipulate anyone to work with me. I absolutely do not. I'm good. I'm very direct. And I got skills, man. But I don't need to manipulate. And when you run a business in that mindset, you end up not having to weed as many people out. I wouldn't even say that was a weeding situation, because it saw themselves out. So it is a boundary, though, and a system that I set up. I'll give you 2 weeks, but after that, nope, you're paying the full thing, because I want to honor your choices. And perhaps this is a choice that you need to live with, that you have to pay off, that you didn't benefit from all that much, to make a different choice moving forward. So, where in your business are you still trying to be, let's call it right, instead of real? And that could be where are you still trying to do it the way other people say to do it? Yes, I understand there's psychology behind marketing. I understand all of that. I have taken the courses, I have read the books, I've listened to the podcast. I know that if you're not aligned, you can take all of those courses and read all the books and listen to all the podcasts and still not have a business that attracts people to it because you're not being real. So, where in your business are you still trying to be right or in that one lane instead of being real? This could be the fact that you don't like one of your employees, and maybe you just need to give yourself permission to not like them. And maybe you create a structure in which they report to someone else because they shouldn't all be reporting to you if your business is large enough anyway. And maybe you just give yourself permission to be real and that person doesn't do it for you. And a lot of the times when you do that, again, people will see themselves out to something that's more aligned for them as well. You get to build it your way. I'm not telling you how to build your business. Otherwise, I'd be like the other podcasts, right? This is the way you have to do it. You get to build your business. You don't have to follow what worked for someone else if it doesn't feel like you, if it doesn't feel right. So, but what if you're the model? How about that? What if we go, ooh, totally big on here? What if you're the model of change? What if you're the one that runs the business the way you run it and that you feel is the right way for the people you're serving? And other people look to you and go, dang, what are you doing over there? And then you become the expert in the field. What if? What if you're the model? What if you stop listening to what everybody says you have to do and you listen to yourself more, and then you get good advice from those around you that you trust? Not everybody. Don't go asking everybody their opinion. You can then celebrate the freedom and sustainability as success metrics, right? Like here comes the strategy part. You will be able to celebrate the freedom and sustainability of these success metrics. One of the things that was so fun, I did my reconciliations and everything this morning, and I ran my profit and loss both for this year, but also going back 12 months and taking more time to be at the farm has actually had me in a greater profit than I've shown in any other year, and we're only in October. And I love that for me. I love that for the sustainability of my business and for Enrique. And I also love it for the fact that I know it's working here and I'm sharing these ideas with you. And if they resonate with you, you do not have to do what I do. Then I can't wait to hear about your success too. So when you untangle your saboteurs so you can lead from clarity and not burnout or over-serving or insecurity, it shows up in your books. It really, really does. So you can be peaceful and powerful if that's what you would like to do. You can absolutely. And that's what we're going to talk about in the next episode, because the more you know yourself, the more peaceful you will be. And that just feels so powerful, empowering and powerful. So thank you so much. You can tell this is a subject I love to talk about. And I'm grateful that you're here and you're listening and you're part of my world. And I will see you in the next episode.
Well, that's it for today. Thank you for listening. If it sparks something, pass it on. And when you're ready to go deeper, I'm just a click away at vickybaird.com. Trust your gut, quiet the noise. You've got this.